Joining me now is Congressman Robert Garcia. He is the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. And his fellow Oversight Democrats today debuted a widget on their website, you can check it out, that they say tracks the Trump family's profits from, quote, digital grift. And man, the numbers keep going up literally every second. There's so many things to ask you. I want to start by just playing you something that journalist Maggie Haberman said recently. She has a book out that everybody seems to be reading. And she had this to say before Trump's financial disclosure was released. So let me play that.
The collective we, the Wall Street Journal has done a lot of work, the Times, the Washington Post, a lot of outlets have done a lot of work on this. All of us have only scratched the surface, I think, of what is happening because there's so much we can't see.
It's interesting because Chris and I were talking about how it's sort of a surprise they released this, but it is a little bit like we know what they tell us. You've been thinking a lot about Trump's unprecedented financial conflicts. Do you agree with Maggie Haberman about the scope of what needs to be uncovered and really that we still may not know a lot?
I completely agree. I mean, the reality is what we know, what's public facing, is just part of the massive corruption that is happening every single day in the Trump White House and across all of our agencies. There is evidence of pay to play. There's evidence of the family enriching themselves. Clearly, there's no question that everything from pardons being sold to contracts being given to family members to the grift around the cryptocurrency scheme. I mean, just Donald Trump in just this presidency alone is $2 billion richer. Just him, not to mention the rest of his family. And so there's enormous amount there. And whether it's corruption, whether it's a protection of pedophiles in the Epstein scandal, whether it's giving out contracts to friends, whether it's selling access directly to the White House, there will be so much to investigate in the years ahead that Donald Trump and his family have to be prepared to answer questions and to be accountable to the American public.
And I want to talk about that because I think so many people are thinking about that. You're going to be in quite a hot, important seat about that. But first, I wanted to just get your thoughts about that series of events in the financial disclosures I mentioned at the top of the show. That basically Trump paused his Liberation Day tariffs, leading to a stock market surge one day after 327 purchases were made in his name. Where everybody's still digging through all of this, as I'm sure members of the committee staff are. But how does that timing strike you?
Well, the timing is incredibly suspect. I mean, look, I think that is pretty clear to most folks that are looking at this, is that the Trumps are enriching themselves and using the government to do so. While people can't afford gas, groceries, the cost of goods, the rent, the Trumps are taking people's hard-earned wealth, giving it to themselves, giving tax cuts to themselves and their friends, and then manipulating whether it's the market or they're manipulating their relationships or they're using our foreign policy to sell off access and make themselves richer. People need to understand that this is the most corrupt person to ever hold office in this country, and we are going to expose it. I will also share that we have reports from folks at our agencies, whistleblowers, people that are engaged in day-to-day activities that see the corruption. We are building strong investigations, and we're going to make the case, and we're going to take this case to the American public, certainly when we have the power to subpoena and have actual hearings, that the Trump family is a family that is focused on enriching themselves and nothing more.
So let's talk about how you're going to go about doing that. I know you're thinking about it, and Democrats have a very good shot of taking back power in the House, especially. The Trump sons, as I just noted this, they claim there is a firewall between them and their father. It's very hard to believe. I don't think that one particularly passes the smell test. How would you go about getting to the bottom of it? Does it involve bringing them up? What is the process that people should expect you're preparing for come next January, February, potentially?
One, there is no firewall. Give me a break. That's hilarious. The Trump boys they follow their dad, whether it's on the new Qatari jet now, Air Force One around the world. When dad is out meeting with foreign dignitaries, the boys are right behind cutting real estate deals. Donald Trump Jr. is apparently now, of course, advisor on all of these new companies popping up that are getting these huge contracts that are enriching the company and Donald Trump Jr. with defense contracts. And so What is happening right now is a complete grift, and it's going to be up to oversight Democrats and other committees to investigate, to have the accountability. I've shared with a lot of folks that when we win the majority, we will have a forward-looking agenda, and that's important. But so is accountability. We cannot just move on from the corruption and from the stealing of the American taxpayers' hard-earned wealth. Folks like Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Jared Kushner, Stephen Miller, they're going to have to be in front of our committee. We're going to subpoena documents. We're going to ensure that they appear. There's already been precedent, by the way, to have family members of presidents appear before our committee, including Hunter Biden, who I'm still trying to remember what actually he did. Where was the grift in what Hunter Biden actually did? These guys are actually stealing billions of dollars from all of you and from the American taxpayer. And so the power of subpoena, investigation, putting the right teams in place, coordinating with committees, and my partner, Jamie Raskin, on the Judiciary Committee, all of that is going to be important. And we're working every single day and uncovering more and more grift. That work will continue all the way through November. And on day one, you can expect numerous subpoenas to go out the door.
I think for anybody watching who's just as pissed off as you sound and I am, and just so many people are in this country about how much money this family is making off of the presidency, they're hearing you and they're thinking, like, that sounds great. And it does sound great. I think, as you know, but people should know, you'd be taking the gavel if Democrats went back to the House under unprecedented circumstances. I mean, there's Trump's weaponized Justice Department this term. They're going to continue. You won't have a partner in the DOJ. How are you going to approach this if they just say, I'm not going to appear. I'm not going to abide by the subpoena. I refuse. What are you going to do without the cooperation from the Justice Department?
Look, I think first, we got to start out with courage. And I think one thing that's really important is that we have got to take this on with everything we got and know that the president and his allies are going to weaponize the government against us in this process. He's already shown he's ready to do that. We expect he will continue to do that going into the fall. And he's going to go after folks on our committee and those people that are taking him on. So, one, we've got to take this on with courage. We've got to be fearless. We've got to not only build national support like we've done with the Epstein investigation. It's the singular most bipartisan popular issue in the country where people see eye to eye. And that's because we've built support in the grassroots across the country, going into places where people are having these conversations, and on TV shows and in the media that are not maybe traditional news shows. We've got to reach folks where they are at. And then finally, we've got to use our judicial powers along with our congressional powers to go after the family, to go after the corruption, and ensure that we're getting all of the information that's happening across our agencies. In the majority, as you know, we also have the power to sue. In the minority, you don't have the same ability to bring lawsuits forward to the courts, whether it's federal court or other court. That's a power that mostly the majority has. And so our ability to go to the courts, to use our allies in all the different judicial groups that also will go to the courts, and to use congressional power through subpoena and documents is going to be really important. There is precedent for family members to appear, and we're going to hammer that home. We will have, and we're going to require, that the Trumps, the Kushners, and others appear before our committee and others.
Let me ask you about this jet, because I think the visual of Trump flying, I mean, he flew for it on the first time today. The jet that was, of course, donated by Qatar, refurbished to the tune of hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars. Aside from the obvious issues here, of which there are many, the fact that Trump says it will go to his presidential library instead of the next president is really hard to swallow. Do you see a way where taxpayers can keep it, where it stays as a product of the U.S. government?
Look, I think there's some conversations, and certainly I think you'll probably see some actions in court on this issue. But look, I think broadly speaking, as an American, I think all of us should be horrified at what's happening, that any American president, even a corrupt one like Donald Trump, is going to be flying around on a jet given to us by a foreign nation. And he's going to be flying this jet on the 4th of July over the mall, celebrating a foreign nation's jet that then he plans on keeping. That is not patriotism. That is not feeling proud of our country. And every American should be sickened by this action by Donald Trump. And so that action and being investigated. There are numerous committees looking at actually this plane because it's very suspect. Or we're not also feeling that this plane might even be secure from a national security perspective. But certainly whether or not he should be allowed to keep it is a question that I think will be fought in the courts.
Congressman Robert Garcia, there's always so much to talk with you about. Thank you again for being here tonight.